Thank you to everybody for attending today, our final Sunday safety session of the year. If this is the first time that you've attended, can you use the reactions just to give a thumbs up? So at the top, yeah, so maybe three assets attending for the first time, 4 perhaps, 5. It's like the popcorn again, isn't it? Good. Well, a particularly warm welcome to you, and I hope that you get something from the session. And at the end, there's a QR code and a link to take you to some feedback, and we would really appreciate any feedback that you have. So the good stuff, but also what we can improve on as well as we go into next year for our planning. So let's get started. We'll have a look at the agenda. And just in a minute, we have a safety moment film. So this is one that you can use on your asset as well. And there's a few questions at the end. We'll have a look. Gillian's going to talk us through some Ripple software, which is really critical software in helping to address mental health issues that might spiral out of control. And then our co-chair of the Wellbeing and Work Environment group has joined us, Laura, and she's going to explain the results of the Wellbeing Survey that some of you might have participated in earlier this year. We'll have some Q&A based on that and our Kahoot quiz, and then look forward to 2025 and give you a little glimpse into what's coming up. As ever, if there are any questions as we go through, then feel free to pop them in the chat. Any technical issues as well. Gillian is there monitoring the chat, so we'll get those addressed. Okay, let's take a look at the safety moment. So we'll share it here with audio, but you can also use that QR code to download it to your phone if you would like.
There should be sound coming on just in a second, so if you give us a thumbs up if you hear the sound.
In the event that you must wear RPE, which relies on a tight-fitting face seal, you must be clean-shaven and any facial adornments such as piercings must be removed. This applies to both during face fit testing and operationally. The primary function of RPE is to filter out harmful airborne contaminants and provide clean air for the wearer to breathe. A proper seal between the face and the respirator is essential for the RPE to work effectively. Facial hair, especially stubble or a beard, and facial adornments can interfere with the seal, allowing contaminated air to leak into the respirator and in turn exposing the wearer to respiratory hazards. Facial hair and facial adornments can cause discomfort by creating pressure points or preventing a snug fit against the face. By keeping the area where the respirator contacts the face clean-shaven, promotes better hygiene and reduces the likelihood of skin irritation or breakouts caused by friction between facial hair and the respirator seal. Employees are duty-bound to cooperate with us as the employer to enable the business to comply with occupational health and safety laws such as the Health and Safety at Work Act, Management and Health of Safety at Work regulations, and the Control of Substances Hazardous to Health regulations, also known as COSH. Being clean-shaven when wearing RPE is no different to wearing a hard hat during lifting operations or wearing personal fall protection equipment when working at height out with a protected area. Please remember our life-saving rules. These also apply when RPE is needed, including rules for bypassing safety controls and work authorization. Research shows that a significant amount of the RPE used in the workplace does not offer the user the expected level of protection. This is simply down to the fact that it does not fit. An example of this is when people say they can feel air coming out of the mask and into their eyes, glasses fogging up, etc. The performance of a tight-fitting facepiece depends on achieving good contact between the wearer's skin and the face seal of the facepiece. Everyone's facial features can vary significantly in shape and size, so it's unlikely that one particular model or size of mask will fit everyone. A poor fit will significantly reduce the protection provided to the wearer, and any reduction in the protection may lead to immediate or long-term ill health, or can even put the RPE wearer's life in danger. Face fit testing is therefore a method for checking that a specific model and size of a tight-fitting facepiece matches the wearer's facial features, and seals adequately to the wearer's face. The process will also help to identify unsuitable face pieces. Face fit testing is therefore a method for checking that a specific model and size of a tight-fitting face piece matches the wearer's facial features and seals adequately to the wearer's face. This process will also help to identify unsuitable face pieces. After an initial face fit test, a pre-use inspection and wearer seal check should be carried out each time a fit-tested face piece is worn and before entering a hazardous environment. This check is to determine whether the wearer has correctly put the mask on their face and confirmed that the seal is fit for purpose before entering a contaminated work area. The RPE manufacturer will provide instructions on how to carry this out, and we'll demonstrate a few examples in this video. Please note that a pre-use wearer seal check is not a substitute for face fit testing. Face fit testing is performed on a periodic basis in accordance with approved procedures and must always be performed by a competent person. If an RPE wearer has concerns about the suitability of their RPE at any time, then physical testing can still be arranged.
Okay, so let's just do these questions together and you can respond in the chat. Facial hair can improve the seal of a respirator. Are we going to say true or false? Got 3 people saying false. Yes, it is, of course, false. So the next question, a facial seal is required for tight-fitting RPE to work properly. Is that true or false? True. Yep, that is correct. And what are the requirements for wearing tight-fitting respiratory protective equipment? So we've got A, B, and C, removing facial adornments, being clean-shaven, or wearing makeup. Sandra's quick off the mark there with A and B. Yeah, let's see. Brilliant. What is the primary function of RPE? To protect the wearer from falling or flying objects, to filter harmful airborne contaminants and provide clean air to breathe, or to protect the wearer from arc flash? You're ahead of me there with B. What is the purpose of the face fit test? To verify the individual has a normal face shape, to determine the fashion style of a respirator, or to check a specific model and size of face piece matches the wearer's face and seals to the wearer. Yeah, you're ahead of the game there with C. Brilliant. Okay, so that RPE video you can use on your assets if you like. It has the Luma questions, there's check questions at the end there embedded. Obviously we've got a brainy bunch online today, so all of the answers were correct, but when an answer is answered or responded to incorrectly, then it gives you a little bit of a spiel about why that is. So I think now we move on to Ripple. Gillian?
Yes, so Laura, who joins us today, initially was in touch with this remarkable lady called Alice Hendy, who will tell her story in this very short video. She presented at our Wellbeing event just a couple of weeks ago, and we just took that opportunity to record her what has driven her to create this software, and just a little bit about it and what it can do for your families, for your workplace, for your community, wherever you want to install that. So I'll just play that now.
My name is Alice Hendy and I'm the CEO and founder of Ripple Suicide Prevention Charity. And I also work full-time as a cybersecurity specialist, having worked in IT for just over 10 years now. I came up with the idea of Ripple in November 2020 when I lost my only sibling, my brother Josh, to suicide. I quickly had a look through Josh's devices, his phone, his laptop, his tablet, and I found that he had been going on the internet and searching for how he could end his life for several months prior to him doing so. And it was those searches that enabled Josh to gain step-by-step instructions, guidance, even tips on how he could take his life. So I came up with an idea, I called it Ripple, and it's a piece of technology that can intercept anybody out there who might be feeling as low and as desperate as my brother was, and instead signpost them down a more hopeful path. Ripple can be used by everybody. And by that, I mean parents can download Ripple at home to safeguard their children and young people. Schools can deploy Ripple for free. Colleges, universities, and many businesses can use Ripple as a safeguarding measure to safeguard their staff. Some of the big names that have already deployed Ripple include the likes of KPMG, PwC, and football clubs such as West Ham United and Chelsea. Put simply, an organisation should be using Ripple because it could save a life. It's such a simple tool that you can put in place. Organisations need to be doing everything in their power and everything in their capacity to prevent suicide from impacting them, the workforce, and the families and friends that are left behind. So I work in cybersecurity for my day job. So I'd like to think it's pretty watertight from that perspective. But in terms of cybersecurity risks, data privacy risks, we have all of the necessary certifications in place. We can prove our efficiency with regards to the technology, and we're always on hand to answer any questions that you might have regarding the technology itself. Ripple doesn't collect, monitor, track any personally identifiable information whatsoever. It's simply there to sit in the background and only appear should somebody be in crisis and be conducting harmful searches to do with self-harm and suicide. My goal is for Ripple to sit in the background quietly and to never be seen. But sadly, the reality is it will be, because these searches are conducted in the workforce and people require support and help to get the services that they need to improve their situation. So for parents, for charities, for schools, colleges, universities, it's completely free. This is something you can put in place now, free of charge, without anything in return. For businesses, we ask for a subscription fee, which enables us to provide the technology for free for everybody else. And the cost of that starts as little as 13 pence per computer. If that saves a life, I would say it's worth every penny.
So this is obviously a incredibly powerful piece of software. 31 people have already been saved because of that. That that Alice knows of, because they got in touch with Ripple to tell her that. So it's something that Step Change and Safety will be promoting as part of its wellbeing, health, safety promotion across our members and into our families. Right, back to Fiona.
Thank you, Gillian. So we are in Q4, as you know, and the focus of this quarter is about wellbeing and work environment. Hopefully you've already seen lots of the resources that are already on our website, but if not, then have a look. You don't need an account to have a look at the resources, but you do need an account to be able to download them for free. And if you don't already have one, then you can easily do that by clicking in the box that says member area in the top right hand corner of the home page. And just as a reminder, the website is stepchangeandsafety.net. For next year, in Q1, we already have our eye on prevention of major accidents, and we've got a number of resources coming for that too. So I'd like to introduce Laura Hardy, who is the Health and Wellbeing Advisor at Bilfinger. And more than that though, or maybe as well as, she is also one of the co-chairs of our Wellbeing and Work Environment work group. So Laura was instrumental in developing and issuing the survey that went out earlier this year that some of you might have participated in, which was just to try and gauge a measure of well-being across our industry in the UK. So I'll hand over to Laura. Thank you.
Hiya. Looking at me on a Sunday and looking at that picture, I could actually be classified as a catfish, couldn't I? I just had to laugh when I saw that come up. So hi everybody, I'm Laura Hardy, and as explained, I'm the co-chair of the Wellbeing Working Group through Step Change, and day to day I am the Occupational Health and Wellbeing Advisor for Bilfinger UK. So before I go through the survey results, just to tell you a little bit about why it was that we conducted the survey. This wellbeing group has been brought together to try and assess the needs of our industry, as well as become a focal point for resources and sharing best practice when it comes to wellbeing, not just for ourselves, but for companies wide. So this presentation was delivered in our wellbeing event last week that I just want to share with you today. So our latest research shows that 35.2 million working days were lost to work-related ill health in 2023, and of that number, 24 million related to stress, anxiety and depression. Worth also noting that there's still a high percentage of people that will give another reason for their absence and state it is due to mental health, so that figure is likely to be higher. People now face longer wait times for treatment across the UK, with the average time being 18 weeks from point of referral, but much higher in other parts of the country. And the impact is multifaceted. It impacts individuals, their families, and employers. So that's the problem that our, not just industry faces, but as we face society wide. But what is the need in our particular industry? Well, it involves high stress, safety critical environments, demanding schedules, and often challenging working conditions, all of which can have a negative impact on health. Now, the offshore energy and marine sectors experience isolation, away from friends, family, and reports of unsatisfactory work and living spaces. Our industry is known as a heavily male-dominated industry, so therefore we do have higher stigma around asking for help, and that is with issues in both physical and mental health. We also see a clear correlation between accidents at work and people's state of mind. And in a survey done just a couple of years back, 40% of remote rotational workers were found to have experienced suicidal thoughts, while 29% met the benchmark for clinical depression. So there clearly is a need to push health to the forefront. So Step Change and Safety formed its working group in 2023 so that we could look at wellbeing on a wider spectrum. We wanted to learn about the varying aspects of well-being, which we can see just in the circle here, and how it is that they influence each other and what impact that they have on the workplace. And as I said before, our aim is to provide tools to help our industry foster an environment that values health as much as safety. We need to start making ourselves and our health a priority. We want to try and remove the stigma, increase understanding, and help people find support and access resources that are tailored to their needs. So that is us as a group. So now I'm just going to take you through the survey results. The reason we conducted the survey was to try and get a better understanding of what the needs of our workforce were, what are our biggest challenges, and then we were going to take that information and allow it to direct us in our tools and resources for next year. So these are the areas that you may have seen in the survey that we looked for feedback on. So physical health, nutrition and lifestyle, our working environment, financial well-being, purpose and community, intellectual and fulfillment, as well as emotional and mental health. So these are the spectrums of well-being that we wanted to try and gain a better understanding of our workforce. So I think we're just going to go quickly into some demographics now. So the total respondents were 1,315. I think the current offshore population probably sits at about 8,000. So we did hope for more. So any feedback as to if you yourself didn't complete the survey, why not, and what we could do to better promote surveys like this, or why you feel like people don't fill them out, please do let us know, because it's valuable information to us to ensure that we make sure your voice is heard. So of that 1,300, we had 627 from oil and gas production, 346 from drilling, 129 from marine and shipping, and 60 decommissioning. And this was the age range. So every age range contributed, which is great to see, but the higher percentage in the 45 to 54 and the 35 to 44 were our highest respondents. And then time in the industry, so we can see a large percentage of the people that got back to us have more than 15 years in the industry. And primary working location, as you can see, again, more than half the results are those that work offshore. So this is just, for anyone that didn't complete the survey, this was the, I don't even know what you call it. Well, it's the Richter scale. For those of you that don't know that, it's the strongly agree to strongly disagree scale on various statements. Should we go into the start? So this is the first was in general health and well-being. So you were responding to say whether you feel physically healthy, mentally healthy, you believe you are of a healthy weight, you make good, positive, health-focused nutrition choices, you feel fulfilled at work, and you feel that you have satisfied working conditions. And we've got there the colour scheme so you can see where our highest agreement came from. Much and such the same across the board. If you want to go into the next slide, we're going to go over the summary at the end, which will then hone in on some of the results that we've got available. But awareness of support, this was all about how you felt that you could access and was it readily available, and did you know about it, to physical health concerns, financial health concerns, mental health. Access and support can negatively impact your job. We can actually see the lowest probably score around there, and then around stigma as well. So people are still viewing accessing support as a real roadblocker into asking for help. So just to summarise that, so marine shipping and employees were far less likely to know where to access mental health and wellbeing support. Having had a conversation with the Marine Safety Forum, they've taken instant action on that, and they believe that the issue is due to the multilingual employees that they have, and they have now made sure that all their support comes in a variety of languages. So they've instantly made a change there based on these survey results, which is great to see. So offshore rotational shift and night workers were less certain about how to access support. This is likely to be a significant barrier to then seeking support. There's still perceived stigma around mental health, and that was evident across all sectors, and therefore an additional barrier. So the recommendations that we were given as part of this were that wellbeing support needs to be accessible to all workers and fit in with their work patterns, including night shifts and changing locations. Supports need to be promoted to all individuals, signposting new start to support, regular education and training for existing employees to normalise mental health conversations. And we need to be able to provide clear, accessible and anonymous resources. So for those of you that are on rotational shift, you'll know yourself, there's a big buzz during the day because all your onshore staff are in the office. There's a lot more opportunity to have conversations, to have longer safety meetings and longer safety moments, but we just need to ensure that we're still giving the absolute same to our night shift workers as well, so they still feel that they are getting the same level of support and they're still aware of the support there. So organisational and management culture towards mental health. So this was asking the questions around, did we feel that leadership had the same commitment? Were managers committed? And did policies within our organisations support mental health? So not extremely high agreeable answers here. So we still, I think, believe that a lot more could be done in pushing the mental health in our workforce. 763 individuals responded. 52.3 of those agreed and strongly agreed. So individuals in the renewable sector were most positive about organisational support and policies. Offshore, rotational shift and night shift workers, again, were less positive about organisational support and policies. The recommendations from this to ensure all managerial staff receive relevant training around mental health and wellbeing, to ensure that staff have access to the same support and resources, including access to a manager at a time that aligns with their work pattern, and develop organisational policies that will also benefit atypical staff. Examples, hybrid working, flexible working, ensuring that we've got things in place to suit all lifestyles as they perceive that they benefit less from existing policies. So similar to the last summary, we see that offshore rotational and night shift workers do feel that slight disadvantage, that they're not receiving the same level of care or support from management or leadership. External factors impacting upon mental health. So the workload or hours, social isolation, an impact on sleep and financial worries. So the I can't speak at all, never get me to work on a Sunday. Social isolation and workload, obviously, we have some issues there that we need to try and address and look at what further support that we can put in place there. And then facilities for exercise, energy to exercise, nutritional options and rest and relaxation. So we wanted to try and identify whether you felt in your working environment you had the opportunity, but not just the opportunity, to energy, to put more into yourself and to make yourself a priority essentially. So it was overall positive around facility to exercise. People felt that they had the space, but not as positive around the actual energy to get up and do something at the end of a hard working day due to the hours and I think lack of sleep. Middle ground on nutritional options there as well. No, sorry, Fiona, you can go on. I'm reading the summary before I'm even getting there. So worker in drilling and welling were most likely to report that their workload or hours most impacted negatively upon their health and well-being. Marine shipping and drilling well workers reported the greatest impact to sleep because of their work. And workers in marine and shipping had lesser extent to drilling and wells and decommissioning reported that their job isolated them from friends and family. Offshore workers reported that their workload and hours had the greatest impact on their mental health. The longer the time in industry, the greater the job impacted negatively on workers' health and well-being, it was seen. Facilities for exercise varied depending on the sector, with workers in oil and gas, marine shipping and drilling and wells being the most positive. Workers in renewables were the most positive in terms of having the energy to exercise and having healthy nutritional options whilst at work and sufficient opportunities for rest and relaxation. Workers in logistics were less likely to say that they had sufficient opportunities for rest and relaxation. So a lot of what we got back were, like I said, the facilities were potentially there, but due to the workload and the hours that were put in, people just were not having the energy to then go and use those facilities that would essentially better their well-being and health. So we need to make sure that we work out how we can strike that balance. So purpose and community, so belonging and community, how you feel around those around you while you're working. How you feel that you can be yourself without judgment, your access and availability to have new learning opportunities, be it through work or external, and a space for relaxation, and whether or not you felt that that was something that was of importance to you. So high respondents for those that say that they can be themselves without judgment, and also that they would like that space for relaxation. So many people said in their work environment that they did want somewhere to go away and just be. So that was interesting to see that come back. So workers in renewable sectors had the greatest sense of belonging and community in their workplace. All sectors felt positive that they could be themselves without judgment, particularly for 9-to-5 workers and day shift workers. In all sectors across work patterns, workers could benefit from having more personal learning opportunities, but especially in the sectors of renewables and drilling wells and offshore and atypical shift workers. Across work patterns, there was a desire for a space for relaxation and personal time, and a low rating of availability of social activities and resources, particularly for offshore workers. So the overall summary and recommendations is it's clear that we need to invest in mental health and wellbeing support for all, making support accessible to offshore and atypical shift workers especially. The provision of training and support for managers to recognise signs of mental health issues and how to respond appropriately, and encourage help seeking. We need to look to reduce the stigma in accessing support through investment in education and awareness campaigns. Training sessions, workshops on mental health, its importance and the available support. Normalise and promote open conversations around mental health and wellbeing, making support easily accessible and visible. And establish peer support programmes. One of the other recommendations was to look to reduce the isolation, build job satisfaction and purpose with self-esteem, and reduce stress through the recreation and social activities to encourage a better work-life balance, personal learning opportunities, and to ensure developments are available for offshore and atypical workers through consistent communication channels, enhancing on-site amenities, and offering virtual participation in events and flexible policies to allow equal access for learning opportunities. So the stigma still plays a huge part in why we're not asking for help. And again, it's not just mental, it's physical health too. We find that something's wrong and we just fear asking for help in case it has that negative impact in our job. So we really just need to challenge those out-of-date mindsets. To be able to work safely and effectively, we need to be at our best, and there is no shame or harm in getting support to do just that. A lot of companies we found had an array of amazing support services within, but it's just not promoted well enough. So we have access to some fantastic support. We just don't know about it. We don't know how to get it. So that's a big push for us, for this working group. We want to go out to our members to look at what they have. Is it still fit for purpose? And how well known is that support to the workforce? It's hard to communicate with the offshore industry. I know this myself, having tried to many times over the years. I now take myself offshore and put myself in front of people to try and get that message better across. But we do know that posters that go up, leaflets that get sent out, QR codes that you can scan are just getting walked past. So any ideas, opinions, solutions to how we can better engage and better get the support out to you, please do let us know, and we will communicate this with our members, because your voice needs to be heard and so does ours. We have support for you, but how can we tell you about it, and how can we ensure that you know it's genuine and that it's valuable? Please do let us know. And I think that is my end of slides, I think. Questions? Yes, any questions? Easy ones.
Thank you, Laura. That was really interesting. If you do have any questions, then just pop them into the chat and we'll pick them up from there.
Thanks, everyone.
We can perhaps just keep going, and if you do have questions, keep typing them, and then Laura can come back in later on.
Perfect, thanks. Okay, so we are currently in Q4, as we've said. We had 2 really successful events earlier this month. So one on occupational lung disease and respiratory protective equipment, and the wellbeing event that Laura spoke about. If you haven't been to any of those, and you have an opportunity to attend some of the events in future, then they're definitely worth going to. Couple of resources there. There's a whole wealth of wellbeing work environment resources on the internet. Some of them, like the RPE video that you saw earlier, are donated by our member companies, and we're really grateful for that. So if you've got any good practices that you want to share or any good resources, then do get in touch so we can share them more widely. Still to come this quarter, there is an animated safety moment coming out about the narcotic effects of hydrocarbons, some more resources around occupational lung disease and RPE, a couple more safety moments and some films coming. So just keep an eye on the website for that. And if you would like to, then you can sign up to receive regular email updates as well that notifies you when something's changed. Okay. So we've come towards the end of our session and we have a Kahoot quiz to do. So just a wee bit of fun. We always finish our Safety Sunday sessions. Did I get that in the right order? I'm not sure. With this. So you'll need a device so that you can answer the questions on. So not the laptop or the computer that you're using, but a phone or an iPad or something. And if you, just in a second, you can either scan the QR code, work as a team, I would recommend, or just go to kahoot.it and enter the PIN number there. Complete with funky music.
I do this quiz on my own.
I hope not. There we go. Flooding in.
Well, Laurie, you were in a chance of winning there before everyone else turned up.
Do you know what? I wouldn't have. Watch me being ready.
I think maybe the delay was trying to come up with some really good team names.
I like Golden Seagull.
I do too. I'm loving that one. Just having a look at the number of people that we have logged on to see if we're expecting any more. We'll just leave it open for another few seconds and then we'll start the quiz. So if you haven't used a Kahoot quiz before, then sometimes the answers, it's just a true or false. You just click on the correct answer as you understand it. Or sometimes it's multiple choice and it will say in the question or just before the question if it's one answer or if it's multiple select. And then if it is a multiple select, then there's a little extra button to press. But I'll keep you right as we go along. You'll also be, each team will get points based on the number one, the accuracy of the answer, and then secondly, the time. So the fastest finger wins. Okay, here we go. Fingers on the buzzer. So this is one of the multi-select ones. Which of the following factors can affect our well-being and therefore our ability to work safely? Finances, social, nutrition, mental or physical? So select all that apply and hit the submit or the K button. Don't forget to hit submit or your answer won't be registered. Okay, it is, of course, all of these can have an impact. Okay, next question. Well, let's see what that does. Laura's in the lead. Good, but there's still plenty of time to catch up for everyone else. So this is, again, another multi-select. Select the ways that you can help to reduce cholesterol in your body. So eat oily fish like mackerel and salmon, do more exercise, eat saturated fats found in fatty meat, burger and hard cheeses, don't smoke cigarettes or cut down on alcohol. Yeah, so all of these except the cheese and the fatty meats and butter, and for all the good stuff. Well, at least it tastes good. Let's see what that's done to the leaderboard. Ah, Ravensburn has taken over the lead. Well done. So this is just true or false. Asking someone if they had considered suicide decreases the chance that they will do it. Is that true or is it false? Split answers there, but yeah, it's true. So sometimes I think we think that talking about suicide is more likely to plant the idea in somebody's mind, but actually it's useful to give that person an opportunity to talk. Okay, Ravensburn holding on to the lead. Another multi-select. Symptoms of seasonal affective disorder, SAD, known as winter depression, include hyperactivity, persistent low mood, craving carbohydrates, or lacking in energy. Yeah, I think most people were able to identify the symptoms there. Yeah, craving carbs, lacking in energy, feeling a bit blue. Yeah, but not hyperactivity. It's the opposite. Less energy. Let's see what that's done to our leaderboard. Oh, grey matter's catching up there. We've got 5 players with a streak. Okay. So this is just so another multi-select. What are some common signs of a heart attack? Is it chest pressure and pain, shortness of breath, tingling in the feet, cold sweat, pain in the left arm, or jaw, neck, or upper back pain? Yeah, so all of those symptoms there, except the tingling in the feet, and I think there's fairly broad understanding of those symptoms. Great. Oh, Ravensburn are fast and correct. All right, next question. A colleague with dyslexia can be supported by giving instructions verbally, breaking instructions into bullet points or smaller chunks, allowing more time for reading documents, or ignoring it. Yeah. So there's maybe a temptation to ignore it because then, you know, to make them not feel different or special. But if we do all these other things just as a matter of course, then they can be treated fairly as well. Their needs are met. Okay. And the next question, I think this is maybe the last one. So this is 2 more. Oh, sorry. If a man has testicular cancer, what is the increased chance that his brother or son will also develop it? So use the slider on your answer to pick a number and then hit submit. Okay, so 2.5 times more likely to also develop testicular cancer. It's an interesting statistic. Okay. So name the person behind the moustache. The picture will appear. Is it Montgomery Burns, Homer Simpson, Sideshow Bob, or Ned Flanders? It is, of course, the famous left-hander Ned Flanders. Excellent. So let's see what that has done to our overall scores. In third place, we've got Laura. Congratulations. Grey Matter in second place, and I don't think this is going to be a surprise. Ravensburn in first place. Very many congratulations to everybody who took part in the quiz. Well done. Just we're milking that leaderboard. Just a reminder, if you joined us a wee bit later and you haven't had an opportunity to put the name of your asset and the number of people attending in the chat, if you could make sure that you do that before you leave the call today. So I promised that we would talk a little bit more about what's coming up in the next quarter. So we've got some joined up thinking animations around process safety fundamentals and focusing on the prevention of major accidents. And we're creating these new films called Safe Talks. And it's a bit like, it's maybe a cross between a TED Talk, if any of you have seen those, and also like a reel on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, in that they're shorter. So not like kind of 30 seconds, maybe, about 5 minutes, just a bite-size film. It's a bit conversational and discussing different topics. And the first one that we're launching is hazard identification and risk assessments. So we look forward to that one coming out, and keep an eye on the website for that too. And the next slide. So coming up, our next Sunday safety session will take place in Q1, and keep an eye on the website for the date, and we hope to see you there. And a couple of other events coming up. We've got the Lifting Forum on the 5th of December. That's an in-person event. So some of you might have heard about the Masterlink failure that happened about this time last year, actually. And there was another one similar in July. So the Lifting Forum on the 5th of December is all about that failure. So that's going to be a really interesting one to attend, I think. We've got, if you enjoyed the Kahoot quiz there, we've also got our annual Step Change in Safety quiz on the 15th of December. Here, when Ravensburn won, it was just for the credit and the boasting, the bragging rights. On the 15th of December, there's a trophy to be won, and possibly a prize as well. I'm looking to Gillian for some help.
Yeah, prize for a donation to charity of your choice.
Mm-hmm. And on the 22nd of April, we have our first Safety Rep Forum of 2025, which is an in-person event, lots of different speakers, great opportunity for networking for the safety reps, and they're really well attended, and there's lots of great discussion there too. So those are the ones that are in the calendar at the moment, and they're open for booking. But if there's, as we come up with some other events, then those will be posted too. So just another shout out there for our annual quiz. It's about the same time on a Sunday, so about 3 o'clock. It's hosted by these two Gillians, Gillian Ewan and Gillian Taylor, and Gillian Simpson, who joins us today, is in the background doing all the technical stuff. And they coincidentally look like Claudia and Tess, don't you think? Maybe a bit. So, so we hope to see you there. So feedback on the session, we are really keen to know what works, what doesn't work in these virtual safety meetings, so that we can improve things going forward and take something different to you next year. So we would really appreciate it if you could either click on the link or scan the QR code to give some feedback. And I think that's the close for today. Gillian, anything to add?
No, that's it. That's all
Super.
good. Yeah, join us again for the quiz, as Fiona said, on the 15th of December, and our Sunday safety sessions again. We'll have 4 at the end of each quarter next year. And I'd just like to thank Laura, who's been distracted by her 5-year-old, I think, for joining us, giving up her Sunday afternoon and joining us to present on that. So thanks, Laura, and thank you, Fiona.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody for attending. Is it too early to wish everybody a Merry Christmas?
Yeah, it's too early.
Done. It's out there.
Oh.
All right. Thanks very much indeed. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.